Hey, everybody out there in tech land. My name is Damien Pelliccioni, and we are live here in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest 2014. I'm so excited to be here with TechZulu.com at the Indiegogo Tech Cafe, ladies and gentlemen, where all the action is at. It's not at the convention center. It's here at Indiegogo. So get your butt over here if you're watching this and you're in Austin, Texas right now. But I'm so excited because we have got one of the coolest gentlemen sitting right here next to me on my left, Mike Norman from this brand new website, WeFunder.com, which is just launching, right?
Yeah, so we've been actually in market now for a little bit over a year.
Yeah.
The more exciting thing about what we're doing comes in a few months when we're actually going to be able to allow unaccredited investors to invest in startups. So right now, we're kind of like more traditional finance, angels that are accredited, that are relatively wealthy, can invest in companies that we list. But the game-changing stuff happens later on this year.
So basically, I'm a startup. I've got an idea for an application. I've got an idea for a piece of technology. I go to your site. I put up my idea. Then what happens?
So, I mean, really, you can use us like any type of platform like Indiegogo does for creative projects and ideas or nonprofits, where you can come to our site. You can put up a profile for your company that explains exactly what you've built. Maybe you demo your product. You can answer some Q&A around the market or where you see the revenue model coming from. And then you can blast it out to your friends, family, your early customers, users, and adopters. If you have a product which is already in market, you know, people that know you and know your product are going to be kind of the most early believers in what you're doing. And then you take these folks and they become not just friends and family and
they become mini
users,
marketers.
They become mini marketers and evangelists,
yeah.
right? They're these investors that are telling their friends, getting them to sign up or buy your product. So, and we think it's going to just fundamentally change the way companies raise money.
So as much as it's financially based, it's very much community based. So people
right.
are growing their communities using your platform, basically.
That's right.
And that's really exciting because, I mean, everyone needs community around whatever startup or product or app or creation that they have, and that's always the hardest to find. So you're kind of like that hub for that community.
Yeah, and being an investor is like a really specific identity, right? We founded the company.
How do you find investors? That's the big question at South by Southwest right now. Who are the angels? Who are the investors? Well, we got them for you. They're all on his website.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come the end of the year, your investors are going to be the people that use your products, the people that like know and love what it is that you're doing and have confidence you're going to succeed because they've seen what you do in practice and they use it on a regular basis.
That's really cool. Any success stories or any people using it that you could talk about right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first companies we funded back out of our batch from Y Combinator last year was a company called Zenefits, who is this kind of HR software that allows you to kind of quickly onboard employees, set them up with their health insurance benefits and a litany of other things. They've been extremely successful. They raised their Series A, almost entirely from Andreessen Horowitz. So we've been able to demonstrate that, really good, high-quality companies see the value in using a platform like ours. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. And again, like I mentioned, everything changes once these changes in the law go into effect later on this year.
Okay, so let's talk about the law. What are the changes in the law? What was it before? What is it now? What is it going to be tomorrow?
Great question. So the reason why it's such a difficult thing to find investors right now is that it's a relatively small universe of people that are legally allowed to invest in startups.
Legally allowed. That's the key word here, right?
That's the key word, absolutely. So you need to have either $1 million in net worth or make $200,000 a year for the SEC to say, okay, you can invest in these private placements, these startup investments.
Really? So in other words, like I'm the little guy, I got to find the big guy with
right.
$1 million or more before I can even like think about.
Exactly right. And oftentimes, those people are not the people that are using your product every day.
No,
right?
I was going to say,
they're not targeting those
like
guys.
what if I'm a small, tiny product or a brand new app idea? It's like, I don't know if I can find a millionaire who wants to invest.
That's exactly right. So the changes in the law will literally allow everyone to invest. And
That's
so
amazing.
Instead of only having to go after these large folks, that have made a significant amount of money or generally older, you're going to be able to target your users and your customers, people that love what you're doing, that you really want to have along for the ride of being rewarded if you're successful, because they're the people that believed in you most when you got started.
And okay, if I'm coming onto your website, I have my product, I have my idea, is it similar to Indiegogo in the sense that I'm offering perks? I'm not just collecting community. What are some successful models of how people have used your platform?
Great question. So the important thing to remember is that you're literally selling, equity in your company. So the perk is the upside and the potential success.
A share.
Of the business, exactly.
Yeah.
A share if you're doing an equity round, some debt if it's a convertible debt round that you're raising. So that's really what people are buying into. It's this idea of being an investor, right? There you put on these clothes of saying, I'm an investor in this company. You're able to tell
I'm
your
on
friends,
the board.
I'm one of the early investors in this business, and it starts to take off. You can be like, I got in, before anyone believed in those
Yeah.
guys, I saw their product and I believed and I invested, and now all the VCs are swarming.
So now, for you, what was the challenge, legally speaking, in getting something like this going? Because obviously, you've got the SEC, you've got all these different regulations in place. Obviously, they're being lifted, but like even to just get something started like this, and then get people like into it, because I'm sure that was a huge challenge.
It's a great question. So my co-founders and I have done startups in the past. We've all raised money for our previous companies, and so we'd been through this painful process of not being able to accept money from our friends that knew us and were really passionate about what we were building, but on the other side, not being able to invest in our friends' companies that we really kind of thought were doing important things for the world. So when Congress was kind of deliberating this idea of changing the wealth restrictions on investing in startups, the startup community wasn't really at the table to help advise them on how that should be done. So we launched a petition on our own site, and very quickly got thousands of people to sign it, millions of dollars pledged to invest in startups if the law was changed and made in a workable way. And so that kind of brought us down to DC, and we worked with the senators in the White House throughout the winter.
You actually worked with the
2012.
senators at the White House. That is amazing.
Yeah, it was great. I had a chance to be in the Rose Garden when the president signed it into law. So we literally kind of wrote the law, which is the foundational infrastructure of how this entire industry is going to emerge.
How exciting was that for you, that moment when you saw President Obama signing that bill?
I mean, it was so exciting, right? It's one of these things where you hear about, democracy and like citizens being able to have a direct voice.
The little guy.
It's supposed to work, but you don't often actually see that happen in practice. And we were literally, a couple of guys in Boston with an idea for how this should happen, and able to literally play a pivotal process in the legislation. So it was surreal. It was surreal to walk in.
What was that time period? How long was it from the very first time that you're like, let's do this, guys, to the point that like President Obama signed that bill?
Great question. So we started talking about it in December 2011. Hey, what would this website look like? What are the things that would need to happen for this to work in practice? We launched a petition at the end of January, and then in April 5th, I was at the White House watching the president sign it into law.
4 months.
So it was an extremely fast process. This is kind of unheard of in the
I'm
Senate.
like, in American politics, where is a bill passed and signed in 4 months like that? That's insane, especially something revolving around, tech and investment, and it's a very specific niche market.
And the challenging thing, well, I mean, they think, and rightfully so, the senators believe that this will work for
everybody.
All kinds of businesses, right? We'll have a locally owned business which is going to go up and raise funding. Tech startups is a big part of where we started because of who we are and what we think is kind of the
what you believe in.
It's what we believe in.
It's your why.
But all kinds of businesses are going to be able to take advantage of this, and we're building a platform to accommodate all of them.
That is amazing. I think what you've done is changing the world, obviously, of the community, and it's amazing that you had so much support and you were able to go through this. Like, wow, you guys have such a great story. I want to thank you so much for being here on the show, on TechZulu here at South by Southwest. And where can they find you on the web? What's up next for you guys? I mean, we've got the launch, obviously, in a couple months, but Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff.
WeFunder across all your different platforms.
At WeFunder. So tweet hashtag South by Southwest 2014 at WeFunder. Everyone tweet at WeFunder, FUNDR.
That's right.
Okay, cool. We're going to tweet that right now.
And come to the platform, sign up. I mean, you really want to be on the cutting edge of when we put the law into place, or when the law comes into place and allow people to invest for the first time. So literally, for hundreds of millions
the first
of people,
one? Who's going to be
the first investors?
Be the first on your block.
That's right.
To come up with your own tech idea, right? That's the idea.
Or to invest in the most exciting tech companies out there. I mean, what we've been able to prove through Y Combinator and all these companies that we funded is that it's not just the guy on your block that you're helping fund, but it's some of the most in-demand companies that are out there that you're able to get a piece of. So.
That is so cool. I can't wait to search through your database and find things that I can be a part of. Check them out at WeFunder.com. At WeFunder. Stay tuned with us right here, live action at South by Southwest in the Indiegogo Tech Cafe. More to come. Thank you so much for being here, and good luck with everything. Stay tuned right here on TechZulu.com.